Welcome back to Interview with a Bothan. Just like Borskfalia, I too love to cause problems for little to no personal gain. We are your hosts, Lou and
Lenny.
And today we're talking about The Last Command. This is the third and final installment of Timothy Zahn's original Thrawn Trilogy, published in April 1993 by Bantam Spectra. Once again, we will be spoiling this book along with its predecessors. That being said, we try to keep our other spoilers to a minimum. There's so much to discuss.
There's much to discuss. The gripping conclusion to the number one best-selling saga. Lots of moving pieces in this story, and also blurring the chronology for the sake of clarity and brevity, which is an insane thing to say given how long the summary will be. So where we're at right now is that at the start of the book, the Empire has clones, the Katana fleet, cloaking shields, and a Jedi Master, and also Thrawn. And the New Republic has been losing planet after planet to the Empire and have just suffered a scandal in the upper ranks of their government. See Borskfalia attempting to accuse Admiral Akbar of treason. And they are tight on resources, and there is a spy in their ranks known only as Delta Source. So, the book opens with Thrawn deploying his latest strategy, that is tricking planets into surrendering to the Empire by using cloaking shields and Jerus's powers of mind control to make it seem like he has developed an unbeatable superweapon, even though no such superweapon actually exists.
Superweapon is his mind.
Leia goes into labor in a provincial council meeting. She gives birth to twins, Jaina and Jason, and has some moments of peace. Mara Jade has been staying at the Imperial Palace while she heals from her wounds from the battle at the end of Dark Force Rising when Thrawn steals the Katana fleet. And she senses that the palace is under attack and realizes that there are Imperial forces here to kidnap Leia and the twins. With the help of an initially suspicious Lando Calrissian, who is on Coruscant after the destruction of his base on Niklon, they successfully thwart the Imperial attack. Meanwhile, Talon Card has been working to shift a coalition of smugglers' alliances from a squarely neutral stance to actively on the side of the New Republic. Initially, the smugglers want to stay neutral to protect their interests, but when a not Thrawn-approved Imperial raid causes the death of one of their comrades, the disparate group of smugglers are able to unite against a common enemy. Nevertheless, Thrawn continues his attempts to destabilize the alliance. It doesn't matter how exactly, it just involves Niles Ferrier being a dumb bitch. And Card's band of smugglers ultimately decide to work on planning a heist on the Empire's base at Bilbringi, which is a crucial shipyard. Jerus Sabioth, the insane Jedi Master, berates Thrawn about the failed kidnapping of Organa Solo's twins. Almost at Coruscant, which they are almost on their way to Coruscant because Thrawn is launching an offensive against Coruscant, Jerus has a sense that he can await his new Jedi acolytes at Wayland, which is the planet where the cloning facilities are, but I don't think we know that quite yet, and heads there. Thrawn...
No, they do.
They do?
Yeah, end of Dark Force Rising.
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, because I think we know, but I don't think
our band of besties.
Our band of besties does not know that it's at Wayland. But anyway,
okay.
We know, and that's what matters. So Thrawn begins his siege of Coruscant. He is again using cloaking shields, and what he's doing this time is intermittently making the New Republic aware that there is an asteroid blockade, while still concealing the true quantity of the asteroids. So Coruscant must keep their planetary shields up, preventing food and resources from getting in and out. During this attack, Leia forces Mon Mothma to ask Garm Iblis to help lead their forces because his bitch ass won't help unless Mon Mothma directly asks him. And Leia puts Talon Card's slicer, Ghent, in the New Republic war room. And after the attack, Ghent casually lets her know that he hacked the encrypt code for Delta Source. And so with that information, they piece together that the trees in the Grand Hall of Imperial Palace that the Emperor left behind can respond to vibrations in the air and have thus been serving as organic spyware. After the attempted Imperial raid to kidnap Leia and her twins, Leia grills Mara Jade about her association with the Empire. During this conversation, Mara Jade reveals that she has a guess where the cloning facilities are, and they are on the planet Wayland. Luke, Han, Lando, 3PO, Chewie, R2, and Mara all go to Wayland, and they have to make their journey to the cloning facilities on foot through a forest. Luke and Mara end up facing Sabioth, and a clone of Luke named Lauk, which is Luke with 2 U's, made from Luke's severed hand from The Empire Strikes Back. Mara ends up killing Lauk, fulfilling the command of the voice in her head telling her to kill Luke Skywalker, thus fulfilling the Emperor's last command. Meanwhile, Thrawn has launched his attack on the Bilbringi shipyards.
Everybody's at the Bilbringi.
Everybody's at the Bilbringi shipyards.
Fucking everyone and their mom.
Everyone and their mom, except for the bitches who are on Wayland.
Who are currently
dueling clones.
Dueling clones, but only one clone?
2 clones, because Drus is a clone.
Well, are you still a clone if the original one of you is dead?
That's a great question. We can talk about that later.
We can talk about that later. Okay, so everybody's at Bilbringi except for the people that are on Wayland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thrawn's offensive on Bilbringi is flagging due to the coordination of Rogue Squadron and the Smuggler Alliance. During this attack, Thrawn and Pelion get news from Wayland that the cloning facilities have been destroyed by New Republic forces, and among these forces is a group of Noghri commandos, who were previously allied with the Empire, so this is a huge shock. At this moment, Thrawn's personal Noghri bodyguard, Rook, kills Thrawn for the treachery of the Empire against his people. Thrawn, the last of the Grand Admirals, is dead. Pelion, knowing that he does not have Thrawn's skills in battle, orders a retreat. On Coruscant, Luke Skywalker gives Mara Jade the lightsaber she won from fighting Lauk, and it seems like Mara is getting to be kind of okay with maybe accepting that her friends and her connections are now among those of the New Republic.
You got any thoughts, feelings, or concerns about this book?
Summarizing this gave me a stroke.
Yeah, I fucking know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to edit it.
It'll be great.
It's gonna be so good.
But like not even when I was speaking this, but like when I was trying to figure out which details to put in the outline, I was having a really hard time choosing which ones to omit and which ones to put in, because there are a lot of like details that do matter, and there is the psychology of all the characters is really interesting. So for the sake of clarity, no, it doesn't matter how exactly Thrawn attempts to sabotage Talon Card's alliance of smugglers, but
you could even call it a smugglers alliance.
Smugglers alliance. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't get what you mean by that.
The name of the thing is the smugglers alliance.
Yeah. So he keeps trying to the specific ways that Thrawn tries to sabotage the smugglers alliance doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But the way it does happen, I do find very interesting, especially because it is one of the times that Thrawn like fucks up, which is fun to see.
Which is many of these experiments, I guess you would call them. A lot of his like tactical prowess is put to the test in the book, and it does not shake out.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Almost.
So what about you? What are your
I mean, I liked it. And it's not my favorite. I mean, it's a satisfying conclusion to the books. I think it is very overall the writing in these is kind of stilted, which is fine. A lot of sci-fi is written that way. There is a lot going on, and I liked it the first read through. I don't think I had read through it again until now. I liked it as much, but it's also the Thrawn Trilogy is not my favorite EU series. I am an X-Wing guy. I love the X-Wing.
I also love X-Wing.
X-Wing's so good.
Yeah. See, and in the plot overview, I didn't even get to talk about Wedge Antilles. Because he's a very minor character in this, and that's sad.
Well, not every book can be about Wedge Antilles.
But shouldn't it?
Well, no. You know who I miss?
Talon Card? No, not Talon Card.
Not Talon Card. Kel Tainer and Mendonos.
Yeah.
And it's also, like, there are books in the Disney canon that I like the later Thrawn books better than I like the Thrawn Trilogy. Because nothing is told from Thrawn's perspective in these. You don't really see how his thought process works out. Or, like, you don't get his internal monologue. Kind of, like, told through Pelion. But, like, I get why people are drawn to Mara and Thrawn because of these books. Although I find Mara insufferable. Except she does allegedly become a disabled queen. And we love disability representation. Yeah, those are mostly my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, except for all the other ones that we're about to say.
Yeah, well, no more thoughts.
No more thoughts?
No more thoughts.
There's this moment where Leia's talking about Thrawn, and she describes him as having mixed heritage. And, like, what the fuck does that mean?
She might be racist.
That's what I was thinking. Because it's either Zahn not knowing precisely that Thrawn is Chiss yet, because, like, his species is not named in this series.
But what are the Chiss?
Yeah.
At that point, we don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
This was over 30 years ago.
Yeah. And so, like, I feel like it's just Leia being weirdly speciesist and thinking that for him to be so competent, he must have some human ancestry or something.
I mean, I will try to conjure up an in-universe reason, I guess. Because you're probably right, Zahn probably just didn't know what was up yet. Or didn't want other characters to know, but he's literally just a human but blue.
With glowing red eyes and shimmery blue hair.
Okay, that's a human but fucking blue.
Yeah.
Like, if someone brought a blue person to me, I'd be like, that's a human being.
Yeah.
You can't convince me that's not a person. Like, take a Lars Mikkelsen. When you paint him blue, I'm not like, he's not a person. It's just Lars Mikkelsen in body paint. Like, but also, like, is she aware of exactly what he looks like?
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Maybe she just assumes that, like, the Empire wouldn't
have a fully alien, quote unquote, person be a Grand Admiral.
Yeah. Even though it's not entirely clear when he became an admiral.
At least not to us yet. We
do know in the future.
Yeah. No, because she's also talking about it.
Next episode, us will know.
Yeah. And she's talking about Thrawn's, quote, mixed heritage in relation to the way he excels in the ranks of the Empire. She says, perhaps he needed to prove he was the equal of the other Grand Admirals, Organa Solo suggested, particularly given his mixed heritage and the Emperor's feelings towards non-humans.
Yeah, I feel like that's her assuming that this man from the most racist of racist places... Oh, wait, we don't know that yet. This guy, we don't know where he's from. We don't know what his people are like. Presumably, they're all like him, because this is Star Wars. Everybody's exactly the same.
It's the universe of the monocultures.
Isn't it crazy how that works? Maybe it is like she just cannot fathom that the Emperor would let someone who is not at least partially human. But that also raises really interesting questions about hybrid species.
Yeah.
That I don't think anyone's ever answered. Except for maybe the Clone Wars. Because, like, Twi'leks and humans can... Or I guess that's also answered in Rebels. They can have kids.
Yeah, with, like, green hair, right?
No, in the Clone Wars, they're, like... They got the brain tails and
oh, no way.
the Leku or whatever the fuck they're called. See, I'm so Noir Ven built. I only call them brain tails.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about... Is he a general in this one?
I think he...
Or is he still just a guy? Where's my book? Where did it go?
Question.
Hello? Hello, copy of The Last Command. Where did you go? Okay, it disappeared. I can look at it on my iPad. He is.
He's a general.
He is. Wedge calls him general. Thank you, me, for copying all these quotes. How did you feel about Garm, Bel Iblis, and Mon Mothma's relationship in this book?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I do.
You've no
I'm
no
buffering,
thoughts?
obviously.
You're what?
Buffering.
You're buffering?
Yeah.
You're a video?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's news. I didn't know that.
Well, the more you know.
God,
I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like my perception of Garm Bel Iblis was shaped by the fact that I knew how dearly you love him before I started reading this book.
Yeah.
So I was watching his actions and thinking to myself, what is lovable here?
I can fix him. That's what's lovable.
Yeah. Because boy, oh boy, I understand his actions, you know, I understand needing to be asked if you've been asked back into the fold, if you've been wronged. But I also feel like there's a time and a place. And I feel like I feel like
that time and that place is when they very actively, when they actively need to go somewhere. When you're like, no, you have to say you're sorry first.
I guess that is like masterful manipulation.
Yeah,
Just,
like I won't do it.
What are you gonna do? Not say sorry? You're gonna let your people die because you won't say sorry to me? Seems.
Damn, it sounds like you are gonna be a dictator.
Yeah.
Now I will assassinate you. No, I won't. No, maybe.
Anyway,
I will execute you in front of your peers.
Yeah,
because you are in fact the thing I feared.
I can't tell what you're referencing.
Garm and Mon Mothma.
I know, but does he have a plan to execute her in front of...
Well, no, but he's like, she's gonna be a fucking, essentially a dictat.
Yeah.
And he's got a gun on him.
Yeah.
And what does he not want? The New Republic to be the Empire again.
Yeah.
The easiest way to do that is with the gun you have. It takes out the problem.
You're making very good points. And I do
I'm
think
the first smart person you've ever met who has my opinions.
Yeah, I know he's a man of action. So that stands to reason.
He has a gun.
Yeah, he's a man of action, he has a gun, and he hates dictatorships, and I think that's great.
And I could fix him.
You could.
I could make him normal.
But would you want him to be?
No.
Exactly.
I would want to
You want him to kill Mon Mothma, actually.
No, I mean, I don't have any problems with Mon Mothma. Thank you. I think she's fine. If a little milquetoast.
Yeah.
A little Hillary Clinton. Except, I guess, I don't know. Was Hillary Clinton in politics in 93?
I think so, yeah.
Well, other than her, like, being a Goldwater girl.
She was, First Lady from 93 to 2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was the First Lady when this book came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, very Hillary Clinton coded. Very low-key Margaret Thatcher coded.
Mm-hmm.
Love a neoliberal icon, I guess. I don't know. I find their dynamic to be really interesting. I also am still very fascinated by, like, how well he knows Leia. Because they don't seem to, like, interact with each other like they know each other. But he was, like, friends with her dad.
But then, like, wasn't Bail Organa part of the falling out? Like, didn't he move with Mon Mothma to form the New Republic?
Well, he's dead as fuck.
Yeah,
he was on Alderaan.
Yeah, I know. But, like, when they were talking about, like, the Corellian Treaty, like, it's remembered that, or I don't know, I feel like Bail Organa and Mon Mothma are both remembered as founders of the New Republic, or, like, founders of, like, the decision to form a, like,
I think that is because he's dead.
You think it's because he's dead that he's talking to Leia like that?
No, I think it's because Bail Organa is dead.
That he is remembered.
He is remembered in that way.
Okay.
Because he is now, like, the perfect
of course.
propaganda piece.
Yeah. No. Nothing is propaganda like a martyr. But I still think it would provide an explanation for why.
But they, like, don't even act like they've ever met.
Okay.
Like, it's very, like, there's never a, hey, how are you?
No.
Hey, I haven't seen you. She was a junior senator.
I'm obsessed with your husband.
Yeah, I've been keeping tabs on your husband for the last 20 years. And also, I knew your dad. And also, you were a junior senator.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be worth referencing, huh?
Like you would think that they, I guess, would have at least fucking met. And, like, been in the same orbit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of beside the point, not what I want to talk about, but it is fascinating how it's just like, yes, Garm Iblis.
Mm-hmm.
The famed. It's like, haven't you met this guy? You were a senator.
I mean, there's, like, thousands of senators.
Your country is one of the signatories of the Corellian, or not your country, your world, is one of the signatories of the Corellian Treaty.
Yeah.
He is the senator from Corellia.
Yeah.
You seem to be besties with Mon Mothma. Low key.
Maybe it's because maybe Leia is also participating in the frigidness as well.
Oh, everyone seems to be like, fucking Garm.
Yeah.
What a bitch. Can't believe he's telling us what to do.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't led a really successful campaign against the Empire for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
It is crazy.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, Leia is talking to Senna, right? And is like, get him down here, we need him. Which at least implies familiarity between her and this woman.
Yeah.
Senna's like, he won't come down, not unless and until Mon Mothma asks him to, his own words. Which, like, most divorced father thing you could do. I love that for him. I hope there's food in his fridge. And not just a 6-pack of beer. And then Senna's like, he, like, won't even listen to me. I, like, don't know what to do. And then it's like, let me call her, Garm. Maybe I can persuade her to offer you command. He shook his head. If you have to persuade her, Leia, it doesn't count. She has to decide this for herself. And then Mon Mothma comes out of fucking nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And is like, please.
We need you.
I need you. Which, like, we were a good team once. Which implies that at one point they were on good terms.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, is Mon Mothma just talking shit about this man to Leia? I mean,
possible.
Bail and him could have had a falling out, but I feel like Bail Organa's been dead for a decade.
This is true.
Almost exactly.
Yeah.
His death date is like 3 days before the calendar.
Yeah.
If 3 days. because time is kind of fake.
Yeah.
And, like, there is attention brought to the fact that he is asking Mon Mothma these questions in, like, a formal register. And that Mon Mothma is responding in a very, like, familiar way. I don't know, I just find it crazy that he's not, like, interacting with Leia. Leia isn't saying anything to him. I mean, she was, like, I can do math. 18? She was a junior senator? You think you would know that guy?
Yeah.
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
Seemed to at one point be buddies with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
We avoided court-martial by not saying off-the-wall shit. And then when the siege is over, it does kind of, like, imply that familiarity because they don't understand what Card is saying. Like, that, their interaction where, like, she frowns up at him, so he's tall. At least taller than 5'1".
Which isn't that tall. I'm taller than 5'1", and I'm
and you're not
short.
tall. And got an equally puzzled look in return. So, like, I don't know. I just find it interesting. I love him.
Iblis and Leia
Iblis and Leia talking about
to Card.
Yeah.
That
I just have so many questions about, like, how this all fits together. Which the answer is probably it fucking doesn't, but, like...
Yeah.
Not that my dad has any friends.
Right.
But if he did... and I saw them out in public, I'd probably say, I don't know, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
How have you been? I have not seen you in a long time.
Do they have any conversations like that in this book?
No, but I mean, like, it would imply familiarity. Like, it just seems like they don't fucking know each other.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's obvious that, like, Talon, Card, and Luke have interacted before.
Yeah.
Leia kind of just seems like a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
To everybody but Han. Like, sometimes even Luke.
Yeah.
So maybe it's an issue with, like, the way Leia is written. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But, like, Mon Mothma and Garm Iblis, when they talk to each other, it is familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I also still think, like...
And if her child, who was named at this point, but did not have anything written about her, who is, like, the same age as Leia, and was named Leia from the jump, you think if she saw this man, she'd be like, oh, wait, I know you.
But I don't know if that's the kind of thing that, like, would be chosen to be depicted. You know?
But I think it would come through in the other conversations.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you don't trust him because he fucked off, and you, like, knew him as a child.
That would be a sensible subtext to add. I honestly did not think about it this much until you
and now you're thinking about it. Isn't it kind of wild?
Yeah, well, because it's also... Now I'm trying to ascribe meaning where there probably isn't any, but it still would map on reasonably.
Is she doing it on purpose?
Because that could be it also, because I do think even though Leia does sort of start reflecting about the amount of control that Mon Mothma seems to want to have, she does start having those moments of reflection. I still think she does ultimately have a moment where she thinks to herself, oh, Mon Mothma doesn't want to relinquish control because she just wants it to be done right. You know, I feel like Leia tends to have, and even though she's frustrated with the amount of ambassador visits that she has to do, that Mon Mothma makes her go on, and she can't do her Jedi training, she does have, like, her little personal issues with Mon Mothma. I do still think...
I wouldn't say those are little personal issues,
okay,
though.
right.
Those are, like, life.
Yeah.
She went to labor in
a fucking provisional council meeting. That's crazy.
Like, that's fucking insane.
That is insane.
Mon Mothma seems like a horrible fucking boss.
She does. But I still think that Leia is more comfortable being allied with that form of governance than the sort of splintering that Garm Iblis was, like, okay with doing.
I mean, I would assume that's because she grew up entirely under the Empire.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a government where, a lot of decisions were just made and you didn't have a lot of rights. And, like, Bel Iblis seems to really be hanging on to the fact that, like, people have rights.
Yeah, and I think it would be reasonable to think that Leia reacts negatively to a figure like that, but doesn't interrogate it per se, because I think she thinks that she cares about people having rights.
She thinks she does.
Yeah.
Yes. She has some crazy thoughts about Bothans.
And also, like, pretty much any species outside of humans.
I also just think a lot of it, because, like, in Chapter 5, it literally says Leia was not ready to ascribe vindictiveness to Mon Mothma's decision, but the others in the New Republic hierarchy who remembered Bel Iblis and his tactical genius, not all of them were quite so willing to give Mon Mothma the benefit of the doubt. She just seems like she's insane.
Yeah.
Like Thatcher insane. Not, like, medically.
Yeah.
She seems like a girl boss in the worst way. And is that necessarily beneficial to running a government?
No.
But now she's indoctrinating this person, or I guess has been indoctrinating this woman since she was at least 18, if not earlier, into this like junior Margaret Thatcher role, where she just feels okay having literally no rights and no maternity leave. Winter's kind of a domestic servant.
Yep.
At this point, I'm just saying maybe Garm Iblis is right to be angry. I might be vindictive if someone treated me like that. Maybe I am just a divorced man.
Maybe you are. I mean, the problem, I think when people do me wrong, I don't react strongly. This is known. So I feel like
it is known.
It is known. So like where I'm such a conciliatory person that like it's hard for me to put myself in the shoes of Garm Iblis, but also this is why I'm not leading a successful rebellion, you know? Like, I think you can't be a pushover in the way
I wouldn't say you're a pushover.
Yeah, that's beside the point. But, like, he's the only one with clarity of purpose.
I don't even think he thinks he has clarity of purpose.
I don't think he does either, but I just wanted to quote fucking...
I love Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe Saw Gerrera was right. Like, you do need to have multiple guerrilla forces fighting a tyrannical government. Because, like, look at Hoth. Look at Empire Strikes Back. That does not fucking go well.
No.
Because they're all too centralized.
Yeah.
And they don't have their little cannibalistic teddy bears that they get in return. I'm not saying, like, if I was Mon Mothma, and even if I hated this motherfucker, people referred to him as a tactical genius, and I'm fighting the blue tactical genius, I'd be like, somebody get that motherfucker on the phone right now.
Tactical genius. Let's make them fight.
They might kill each other, then I don't have a problem anymore.
There you go.
See, this is what confuses me.
No, because that's the other thing, too, that confuses me as well, is like...
Just let him die. Let him go fight Thrawn and die.
Do you die as a general if you're just standing on the...
Well, maybe they'll blow each other's ships up.
Maybe. In the same way that I don't understand Garm Iblis not, like, being difficult, I also don't understand Mon Mothma. I mean, she does ultimately ask for his help, but, like, too late in the battle for it to be sensible, you know?
And it's like...
Like, people died.
A lot of people died.
Yeah.
Because she's a bitch.
Yeah.
And can't be like...
I was wrong.
Oh, this person who's referred to as a tactical genius, I'm not going to have him go fight the other person who is considered a tactical genius because he hurt my feelings and called me tyrannical. What?
That's pretty tyrannical of her.
15 years ago?
That's a long time ago. Maybe it's time to bury the hatchet.
I mean, it was probably less. It was probably a decade ago.
Still, that's a long ass time.
I'm being hyperbolic, and it seems to be negatively affecting everybody. And I don't know why they can't fucking get over themselves. You're supposed to be running a fucking country. You're acting like you're in a fucking preschool.
Wow, this never happens in real life.
No, but like, it doesn't make logistical sense. You're making this such a hostile workplace. People are concerned they're going to get court-martialed because of how insufferable you both are being. Just mildly concerning.
That is not good leadership.
It's not good leadership. Maybe neither of them should be in charge because they're too divorced. And this is why you can't let divorced people run countries.
This is true.
Or planets. Yeah. Or any kind of government.
Definitely
That's why Justin Trudeau is no longer the prime minister.
Although, was his wife in governance with him?
No, but she's like a crazy anti-vaxxer now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That ain't right.
But she was like kind of crunchy neo-fascist before. But
what a fun genre of person.
It makes sense. Yeah. I mean, the Nazis were like that.
The crunchy neo-fascists?
Well, they were just crunchy fascists at that point.
Oh yeah, no, they were just the OG fascists.
They were just regular fascists, not neo-fascists.
Yeah.
No, but they like really valued like...
It's true. I didn't think about it like that.
Outdoorsman things and guns and barefaced women and a bunch of weird... Like all the fucking neo-trad shit. It's been around for like 100 years. They were probably using beef tallow.
Probably they were. But they probably
Where's
wasn't that
beef tallow even from? Who makes that?
Who makes beef tallow?
Yeah.
I can find out.
Please. This is so off topic. I'm just saying they're making everyone's life horrible. And it's my favorite part of the book. I love it so much. Presumably everybody makes beef tallow.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I'm learning is that pretty much everyone makes beef tallow. Yeah, so just on the topic of New Republic politicians, I guess.
Let's talk about Borsk first.
Let's talk about Borsk. Can't go have an episode of Interview with Both and not talk about Borsk failure.
Well, we soon will.
I know, because he
won't be there.
That's so messed up.
I mean, what do you expect Borsk Phalia to be in the Chiss
He is to-
ascendancy?
He has to be everywhere. I don't know, because we've been talking about the perceptions that people seem to have, well, that they have about Bothans in relationship to Borsk Phalia's actions. Yeah, people, as we've talked about last episode, people say crazy things about every single Bothan because of the behavior of one Bothan.
There may be two Bothans, we don't know, but
Yeah.
one named Bothan.
One
at
named
least in this.
Bothan. Well, there's a named Bothan in Dark Force Rising who is also like
Borsk adjacent.
Borsk adjacent, yeah. Borsk has like an important role at like a turning point in the book when Leia is talking with Talon Card about the fact that Mara and everyone are on Wayland to attack the cloning facilities there. And Leia puts it together that the reason why the Empire has been able to produce clones at such a fast rate is because they are blocking the Force from impacting the Spark-T cylinders. And because of that, it must mean that there are a bunch of Ysalamiri on Wayland. And that means that Luke and Mara are in jeopardy because they will not have access to the Force when they are on their way to meet. Well, they don't even know that they're on their way to meet Jarus. They think they're just there to destroy the cloning facilities. And so Borsk Phalia overhears this conversation between Talon Card and Leia. When he's caught, he starts to insist that Talon Card does everything that he can to help out this operation. And it's throughout the book, they're also just talking about how Borsk Phalia hasn't really been speaking up much in council meetings because he's embarrassed. And this is sort of like, I feel like the first moment in the book where he says what he thinks needs to be done. And it's interesting because what he says needs to be done is what evidently does need to be done. But he's still derided for that and then extorted for that, which I just think is interesting to note.
I mean, I know you love Talon Card. Before I say anything else,
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to rip down your idol in the K-pop sense. But like, it doesn't necessarily, like, I did not take that the same way. Like, I thought it was just because, like, I thought it was kind of a joke. Not in the Phalia being the butt of the joke way, but in the Akbar and Phalia having hyper-specific thoughts and feelings about the Smugglers Alliance way. Because he's running the Smugglers Alliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if Phalia needs him to help, but then has been kind of dismissing him, like, both him and Akbar were pretty dismissive of the Smugglers Alliance. Up until this point, like, yeah, I mean, I would be like, yeah, go get fucked, dude. Like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You've been an asshole to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to be an asshole to Borsk Phalia. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a dick to that guy, because he's horrible.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't read it as a pejorative thing, at least, like, more largely.
Yeah, I think that's also a fair reading.
Also, the New Republic doesn't have any money. That's like a running joke, is that they have no money.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to give me money to pay some of your debts. What, the debts of the New Republic?
Yeah.
Money which does not exist? Like,
I don't know, I just think it's an interesting moment to discuss, especially also like what you pointed out in terms of the relationship that the Smugglers Alliance has with the New Republic. As you've pointed out, definitely a crucial aspect of the resistance that I think the Smugglers Alliance had with aligning themselves with the New Republic is because of the attitudes of Akbar and Phalia.
It's time to talk about Senator. Is she a senator? Is she a counselor?
She's a counselor. Counselor
Fucking
Leia Organa Solo.
Yeah, and her children.
Yeah, there's a couple.
2 of the 3.
Yes, well, third one. I don't know about this. It hasn't happened yet.
Well, it's in Dark Empire.
I don't.
It's happening concurrently, babes.
Well, at the same time that she's pregnant with twins, she's also at the same time pregnant with another child.
Give me 1 second. Let me look it up.
All right. You're just asking questions.
I'm just making statements. Assuming.
One thing I think is really funny is that I have 2 tabs open that are not the outline. They're Cave of Evil and Hillary Clinton.
Okay, let's see. Anakin, born 10.5 ABY. Jaina and Jason were 9 ABY. So they're Irish triplets, I guess?
Outstanding. Getting busy.
Did they wait 6 weeks?
This is a great fucking question. Han, Leia, you don't seem to have the time. Well, you can do whatever you want. Anyway, I don't know anything. But there are, like 2 things, but they're like separate, right? Because one thing that, well, they're separate but intertwined. Everything's connected. I don't know. Because one thing that's interesting to me is the description of the process of Leia giving birth, because like her twins are both force sensitive, and she's throughout the labor process has been reaching out through the force with her mind to try to calm down the fetuses,
which is weird,
as they're being born.
I feel like it's a very stressful thing to go through.
To be born?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Especially if there's another person in there with you. Like, I'm not a twin.
Yeah.
But
imagine trying to...
And then on top of that, you can, like, read your twin's mind?
Yeah.
I wonder how that works in vitro.
Yeah, I don't know. But when she is giving birth, she thinks to herself, if nothing else, the birth process has been giving her the time to practice her Jedi techniques. And it's...
That she can't do. Because Mon Mothma is such, like, a...
totalitarian boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have unions in
That's
Star
a great
Wars?
question.
Like, does she have any rights?
I don't know.
Are you, like, allowed to have maternity leave?
Is there maternity leave in the galaxy far, far away? I feel like if anyone was going to get maternity leave, it would be someone of Leia's status.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a normal person.
Maybe. Yeah, but she's... Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Like, maybe if she had a normal boss. Maybe if Garm was her boss.
Maybe.
She would get time off work.
Food for thought. So it's interesting that, or at least I thought it was interesting, that her Jedi skills are linked to the... It's not time off because she's giving birth.
The medical intervention
The medical intervention she needs is, like, gives her the opportunity, quote-unquote, opportunity to practice her Jedi skills, which she doesn't get to do. And it's also interesting that to link that to the process of giving birth to force-sensitive children. And so it's like...
It'll probably freak me out.
Giving birth to force-sensitive children?
Yeah, if you're also force-sensitive?
Yeah. Well, because, like, she's trying to reach out to them with her mind. And she does.
Like, damn, bitch, no, you got shit to do. Your kids are going to be deprived of oxygen.
Yeah.
If you do not get on this and get them out.
Yeah. But, like, she's trying to use the force... Well, she's pushing, but she's also, like, trying to communicate to both of them that everything's going to be okay. And, like, there's this moment where she's thinking at them, don't be afraid. It'll be all right. I'm here. Soon you'll be with me. And she wasn't expecting a reaction. The twins' minds were far too underdeveloped to understand anything as abstract as words or future events. But she continued anyway, wrapping them and their fear as best she could in her love and peace and comfort. And then one of the minds within her responds to her, and she is able to communicate with it through the Force, and its anxiety calms. To her amazement, she feels the mind of the other twin calming down, but without her directly touching its mind with hers. And so... She reaches out to one twin's brain. That twin is able to understand that this is a scary moment, but at the other side, there will be comfort. It'll be cold.
They don't know it's going to be cold.
They don't know it's going to be cold, but they do know they'll be loved, at the very least.
Allegedly.
Until
she has to go back to work.
Yeah.
In 3 hours.
Yeah. Or also until, like, they almost get kidnapped in 3 hours. But it's just this interesting... moment that she has where then she realizes that these two force-sensitive minds have been, like, growing together within her body, and, like, they will have a mental connection that she won't be able to comprehend. It's just an interesting part.
She can comprehend it.
Well, she
literally has one.
Yeah, but...
With her brother.
But, like, it's not that... comprehend is the wrong word. She won't be able to access that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's sort of an extra level of, like, knowing that you're never going to fully know the child that you grew, because it's going to be a person, obviously.
Crazy.
Which is insane.
Leia Organa unaware that children are their own people until this moment.
Yeah. But this is something I think about a lot with, like... In general. It's just sort of, like, what it's like to, like, grow a thing within your body, and then, like, it's...
Do you think about that a lot?
I do, yeah.
That's... okay.
I think about, like, what, like, there's this living thing will, like, eat the food that I eat, and then...
And the calcium out of your bones.
Yeah.
And your teeth.
And, yeah. And then, like, it will have been a part of my body, and then leave my body, make choices, and have thoughts that I can't access, and that's okay. But that's just, like, such an interesting...
Well, the baby, from what I've gathered, and by that, I mean my friend had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
She learned a lot about babies.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I talked to her, she told me a bunch about babies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they don't realize for a hot minute that they are not you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they, like, cry when other people hold them.
True.
And stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's because, like, they are you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a concept of self yet.
Yeah.
They do not realize that you are your own person or that they are their own person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's for like a good 6 or 7 months.
That's wild. But that's also a short part of life.
Yeah, but you're not sleeping at all. You get a lot of time to relish in that baby is still you phase.
Well, that's good. I guess
When you have to wake up every hour and a half.
Goddamn.
I don't know. Now I'm mildly concerned about the workplace safety. Not that I wasn't before. I mean, I've seen the Death Star, but like, I've seen the movies.
Yeah.
They don't got railings.
That's not a child-safe location for sure, no.
It's not even an adult-safe location. They're just like
No.
falling into pits, you know? That's how the Emperor dies.
Fallen into a pit. If
Allegedly.
only they had child-proofed the Death Star.
Then Luke Skywalker would be dead.
Oh man, it's really the butterfly effect there, but
Mhm.
not really, because that's a pretty one-to-one thing.
I mean, maybe the Emperor would not have came back in either continuity if they had child-proofed the Death Star.
Maybe.
Because then they would have had to cut his head off.
Yeah,
It's hard to do that.
if he falls into the abyss.
If he falls into the abyss of a very finite object,
Yeah, which then gets exploded.
but then ends up in full pieces on a planet.
That's so interesting. Well, anyway, but speaking
That ain't
of...
that kind of movie.
It's not. But it's still... And
Han
yeah.
does have a concept of vacation, though.
Han does?
Yeah.
Say more.
I think even in these books, he's like, can we please do anything else? Can you take a day off?
Mm-hmm.
He is aware that the average human needs to have at least a few days off every once in a while.
Shout out Han. Yeah.
And he was in the Imperial Navy.
Yeah, they have
So the
leave.
Imperial Navy was giving people shore leave.
Not Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma not giving people shore leave.
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. And also it's just interesting that like it's hard to articulate without sort of sounding like weirdly pro-natalist in an upsetting way.
Do it. Sound very pro-natalist in an upsetting way.
Yeah. But like she's sort of one of the last of her people 2 times over. Some of the last of the people from Alderaan, because there are a finite number of survivors, and then one of the last of the Jedi. And so I feel like that, I mean, giving life is like an emotionally resonant thing no matter what. But I feel like being a survivor of genocides 2 times over must be intense. Also knowing the number of people and beings in general like who have died to protect her and keep her safe.
And that's why she had 3 babies in 2 years.
Yeah, I guess.
Can't imagine because it's gonna be really graphic. Like the fucking vaginal tears
Bruh,
from 3 kids in 2 years.
dude,
I can't even fucking begin to fathom.
me neither.
Like, do they have IVF? Do they have C-sections?
It's a fantastic
I would have just
question.
taken the baby out. I would
Yeah.
have just cut it open.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously you need to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
This is better than a 3rd-degree tear.
I mean, I also think that, I wonder if they have C-sections, but I also think that at least in the way I see birth scenes being depicted in popular culture, I feel like the process of someone giving birth, quote unquote, naturally, like, is very like a romanticized version
Oh, yeah,
of,
people
of motherhood.
are usually only depicted having C-sections when they die.
Yeah.
Even though it is, at this point, a very normal way to have a child.
Yeah.
So
But I feel like
a lot of places push it on people.
yeah. But I feel like I don't know, this was written by a man.
Yes.
You know, I feel like the sentimentality of a woman giving birth, touching out with her mind to comfort the child, like it emotionally affected me. Each time I read that scene, I cry because I'm a little bitch. But then I'm like, what's happening here though?
This is weird.
This is weird. This is so weird.
If I could, do they got drugs? They should put that woman on as many drugs as
Yeah,
humanly
of course they
possible.
have drugs. But like she's talking about like, oh, finally I'm in pain so I can practice my Jedi breathing skills.
You haven't been in pain. Your back ain't hurt. Your legs didn't hurt. You're having twins. And you're like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. People I know that only have 1 baby that are like normal height, they are in pain their entire pregnancy.
Yeah, but that's also never like talked about, I think, in this book. Like it's sort of
not in the book.
not in the book. Like it's very much like
And in real life, you just gotta wait till your friends start having kids.
yeah.
Then you're just like
No. That's
"Huh?"
that I don't. I'm not saying like
Yeah.
the pain of being pregnant isn't talked about in life. Like that's not.
No, it does
what I
feel
mean.
very idyllic.
Yes, and like which is interesting because like this whole thing feels really idyllic, which like made me kind of like slow on the uptake to realize how insane the turnaround for her was, because it's just sort of treated kind of
Like
matter of
getting your-
factly
Like
that
getting
she
your
gives.
eyes dilated.
Huh?
Like getting your eyes dilated.
What about it?
Oh no, like where you're like, oh, I'll be back in like a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back tomorrow.
No,
It's no big deal.
I've never
I
had
mean,
my eyes dilated, so
Yeah, that fucks with your light perception for like 10 hours, give or take.
uh-huh.
It's no giving
Oh,
birth.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah.
were saying that like when you get your eyes dilated, you think you're going to be back at it the next day.
No, but
like you're
that's
not.
like the perception of the labor. Is that, like
Yes.
things are gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And not that you're, I don't know, bleeding for like a month. You have
Yeah.
to wear diapers for like a month. I don't know if they
Mhm.
have diapers in Star Wars. Maybe they don't. Maybe
They're
it's weird and
called
crunchy.
Dura diapers.
Dura diapers made by the Duracell Corp. Like,
So they also make Dura
I don't know. And
baby
like
formula.
winter seems to have like nothing else going on.
Which is wild
So she
given
can just immediately become like a wet nurse. Like, who's feeding these babies?
fantastic question.
Do they have formula?
What is generally the framework for childcare
I don't know.
here? Yeah, because there seem to be no.
Like, people presumably have kids
You'd think.
of all species.
Yeah.
And they probably have different things they need. Like, do they just have like every kind of, like every species you can get formula? And presumably, I don't know. Are there people who are like, you know, natural feeding is best, but in Star Wars words?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Leia's not one of those people.
No.
Because then we'd have to reckon with the fact that her titties get saggy.
Can't have that.
I have so many questions.
But what's also interesting about this like sort of idyllic depiction of her birth is only intense insofar that it has sentimental value. You know, it's not intense in terms of like it's not depicted as like their grossness or like the fucking
The fact that you,
physicality
like,
of
shit
giving
yourself
birth. Yeah.
when you're in
Like
labor.
you know, because like you're all pushing with the same fucking muscles. Like,
Well, they used to give people enemas,
damn.
so you wouldn't shit yourself.
Wow.
And they stopped doing that.
That's nice.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't necessarily want to shit myself, but I also don't want an enema. But which do I not want less?
Yeah. And also, like, most people who have twins don't. Like, and not to go back to the C-section thing.
Mhm.
Most people who have multiples get cesareans.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're at such a high risk for, like, depriving one of them of oxygen or breaking your fucking pelvis or breaking their collarbones and stuff. Like, a lot. Like, it's an incredibly traumatic thing for the child and also for the adult who is, like, giving birth. It's like, my mother had to have back surgery where she had discs removed after both me and my brother were born.
Shit.
And we were single kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fun. It's not cool.
No. Dude, I came out with like my fist next to my head and my mom needed many stitches.
That sucks.
Yeah. Like,
I swallowed my own shit in utero.
damn.
I had to have it sucked out of my lungs.
That sucks.
And then my dad said it was very scary to watch.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
But it's like it's a thing that babies do. They do it less now that they don't give mothers opiates during early labor.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, because I was also thinking about the context that this book was published in, right? So not, but in a very general way, because I have very unspecific knowledge. But my thought process was based on my understanding of discussions of motherhood and careers in the 90s based on like me having seen Sex and the City.
Okay.
Sex and the City is like girl boss television,
Yeah.
you know? So this girl boss gave birth and it was a girl boss story that came out in the 1990s. So I was thinking about how motherhood and being a girl boss was talked about in the 1990s. And so I found this article that came out published in 2015 called The 1990s Shift in the Media Portrayal of Working Mothers by Joanna Matro and Reeve Vanneman. And basically the argument that they're making in this article is that there was an increase of representation of miserable working mothers in the 1990s as like a conservative backlash to the idea that like women can have it all. They can be mothers and they can work, which at first when I was thinking about that in relation to Last Command or like Leia's pregnancy here, I thought that this was like a clear deviation from that, but I think that it's a bit murkier because of the way that like she's not exactly depicted as stressed, but she certainly doesn't like the idea of whatever the fuck it means to have it all, you know, like
I mean, she's got a hot husband.
Yeah.
And an unrelenting boss.
And she has children.
Now she has 2 children that she like doesn't need to take care of.
Yeah. And so
she has a person for that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like a lot of the depictions of like stressed mothers like not like thinking they can have it all but not like based on this article were not about people of Leia's class.
No.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know. I think part of it, not to get all women have always been working. But like my grandmother worked.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a nurse. She didn't work until from the time she might have gone back to work in between my uncle and my mom. Because there was quite a bit of time between those. But like she worked, and then by the time my mom was like 6, she had gone back to work, and it like kind of coincided when your kids went to school, which is part of the reason why women were restricted in what fields they could pursue, because a lot of things you couldn't do after you had kids, because you being youthful was kind of the point of the job, like a lot of admin work, unfortunately, because that makes sense. But in the more like practical fields like teaching or nursing, basically those are the only two. It's like you have women that had, I mean, my grandma had 4 kids and ended up like going back and continuing to be a nurse. And I think it is the rose-colored perception of what being a stay-at-home parent and also a child was like when you're talking about like, oh, these women don't have it all. Yeah, it's never been about having it all.
Yeah.
After a certain point, you want your kids out of your fucking sight. You don't want to think about them. And, you know, that's fair.
Yeah.
Some people love their kids. Some people need to be away from their children for at least 6 hours a day, if not more. And, like, you're not supposed to do it all by yourself. And I think the weird perception, and then, like, when you get into depictions of, like, upper-class women, especially in, like, historical dramas, they always have wet nurses and staff because historical accuracy. We have to have all of the maidservants in our show about the 18th century, lest someone scream at us on Twitter. And, like, that is more akin to what it's, like, people have nannies.
Yeah.
Rich people have nannies. Rich people don't take care of their children.
Yeah.
They do get, like, 6 weeks off.
Unlike fucking Leia.
Unlike Leia. I don't know, maybe humans in the galaxy far, far away have surpassed the need. They just immediately heal from birth.
Maybe she gets put in a Bacta tank.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, that might actually...
That might be it. We forgot about Bacta.
Yeah, we did forget about Bacta. That is something that exists. But, like, how long do you have to sit in a Bacta tank?
Yeah. Like a while. Depends on the seriousness of the wounds.
What if you, like, rip
what do you
your vagina to your...
A Bacta enema.
I presume they would just put you in the tank, right?
Yeah.
What if in your butthole in your vagina because it doesn't know?
No, because, like, Bacta has to touch the thing for it to heal, which is like why when there's whatever, this is in fucking the X-Wing series, which is how I know this, but it's necessary, like when it's like Corrin has like a wound inside his lungs, he has to have Bacta like cycled within his lungs, and then
but I just thought they did that, like when you get put in the tank.
Yeah,
they're just like, you're just
because they do have a mask,
pissing Bacta,
but also drinking it and also pissing it.
It was like you're gonna be consuming your Bacta shit.
All right. Well, I'm done talking about this. Another important thing that happens in this book is they uncover what the fuck Delta Source is. They thought Delta Source must be a person or some technology. And yes, it was tech, but it was organic tech, and therefore that is why it was hard to find, because the normal scans that they were doing.
What exactly was it?
Well, apparently, I read this on Wikipedia, that when the Emperor took over, part of his beautification effort of the Imperial Palace included the importing of Chahala trees.
Where are those from?
That's a great question. I don't know. They're native to the planet Kularin.
What are the Kashyyyk trees called?
That's a great question.
Because it's kind of given Kashyyyk tree vibe, except those are really large.
Yeah. Those are called Rosher trees.
Okay.
And these are colossal. They sort of...
They're like redwoods.
Yeah.
But not redwoods, because the redwoods are indoor.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so the Chahala tree is found on Kularin and was an important part of the religion of the native Tarasin.
So then he stole them.
Yeah, he stole them.
Very Emperor thing to do.
It sure is. And so the tree's bark, this is directly from Wikipedia, because the tree's bark consisted of a pigmentation that was sensitive to pressure, including sound waves, so the tree would often change in color and pattern in response to noise. And this is how the trees were able to function as spyware, because people would talk, the trees would respond. The sound waves. I feel like the sound waves would impact the tree, and then there was technology within the roots of the trees that recorded the rhythm of the sound waves that the Chahala trees were recording. And then that was, in a separate piece of technology, reconstituted into recorded speech.
Okay.
Which...
This is like an Emperor thing.
Yeah, he put that in when he was Emperor, and Leia realizes that that was one of the things he used to spy on the senators when he was in power.
So not a Thrawn thing.
Not a Thrawn thing.
Did not do this himself.
He did not do this
himself. Does not seem very genius tactician of him.
To not do it himself?
Yeah.
No. but it is good to use things that you have on hand,
Yeah.
you know?
Slowly but surely segueing into what
I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
So these trees.
Yeah.
They're trees.
They're trees, and they're cool. I thought it was really neat that that was sort of like
The trees, they speak.
the trees speak, the trees have ears, the trees were sort of taken for granted as
Speak Vietnamese.
the trees were sort of taken for granted as just sort of like an inert part of the landscape, but were actually actively listening to what everyone was saying. Well, the tree, I don't know, were they listening?
Well, I guess it does like raise the question of genuinely how much they're doing to like not be the Empire anymore.
Yeah.
Like it seems they've just set up camp with no regard for what is happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that costs a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but like I feel like when things are on your priority list, maybe making sure the place that you are holding the government is like actively free of spyware.
I mean, I think they were doing that. They just didn't know where to look, you know?
No, I think they should have done it before they like moved in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that should have been a preemptive thing.
Yeah, but still, like, how would they know where to look if they, I don't know.
I would just get rid of everything.
Yeah.
I would just
that makes sense.
redecorate. Like,
Yeah.
because like why do you still have these trees? Like, don't you want people to not be reminded of
Yeah.
the previous regime?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why when there are civil wars, they usually burn down the like head of state's house.
Yeah.
And give the new person a new house.
Yeah.
So then you're not reminded of the
Yeah.
to either be nostalgic or are reminded of your hatred. And then you channel that hatred to the person who's currently living there.
I think a lot, like,
That doesn't happen everywhere. I don't think the Kremlin, I don't think they rebuilt the Kremlin after the Soviet Union fell.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know, like, Luke wasn't a fan of the New Republic making its headquarters be on Coruscant, because he just felt like it had too many terrible, terrible vibes that were...
Maybe it was the trees.
Maybe it was the trees that had terrible, terrible vibes. What I want to say briefly about this point is just that they also, this is sort of related to like the theme of clones in this, is that Chahala trees grow the way aspen trees do, which is they share like a root system, and each tree that grows from that root system shares the genetics of
all the other trees.
So
they're just one giant tree.
It's one giant tree. And so
how are these set up then?
That's a great fucking question.
Yeah,
I guess like in a row, but like how do you plant that?
Are they like in planters?
I have no idea. Or maybe like each separate tree was in a planter, and then like there was a root system underneath the planters.
That just seems like a lot of...
And
I feel like they should have checked that and been like, why are these trees growing together underground? Like, that's weird.
That is weird. Why does the taproot have a connection to a module? That's worth investigating, huh? But I just think it's sort of an interesting parallel, given like the fact that cloning is such a big issue in this book, that the spyware trees were also cloned trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Thrawn.
So, I mean, how do you feel about... I know I made the joke about us being Thrawn-pilled, but like, how do you feel about Thrawn?
Well, that's a complicated question to answer, because he's an interesting villain, because he, especially in contrast with like the other guys of the Empire, like seems to be a little less willing to kill people in his immediate command willy-nilly, which is like, the bar is in hell. But
I mean, like, not to be a Darth Vader apologist,
but
imagine being in like that much pain all the time, and people are around you are just like being fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And you're like, I am in so much pain all the time. I'm literally in a plastic suit that I was forced to be in because my boss wants to torture me forever.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, no, I do get it. But like, oh brother. Yeah. But like, even, okay, whatever. Darth Vader apologist.
I'm not one.
You are not
evil.
One. He's evil. But it's like...
allegedly redeemable, unlike Kylo Ren.
Yep. And unlike Jarus. We don't get to see his thought processes in this book. We just get to watch people perceive his thought processes. But...
which is not a very good way to know someone's inner monologue.
It is not.
Unless they're me.
Because your inner monologue is an outer monologue?
According to Thomas.
I don't think that's true, though.
Me either, and that concerns him.
Yeah. I think your outer monologue is fine.
Are you sure about that, bud?
I'm sure.
Well, the people on the internet. The little people in my phone.
Yeah.
Or I guess on my iPad in this case. I have a lot of thoughts about Thrawn, and a lot of them are insane.
Indeed.
Not everybody, and I don't want to say, like, I don't want to be like, oh, this is the prime example of, like, how people perceive Thrawn, and, like, this is incorrect, because I don't think there's a single way to perceive a fictional character. We're not talking about Nazis, but I'm still talking about Nazis. Like, a lot of what the EU did in the 90s was kind of, like, rehab the Empire to a point where people felt okay portraying the Empire without outing themselves as fascists.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, fucking Ralph McQuarrie was great at what he did. Like, a lot of the, you know, matte paintings and concept art and all that stuff. Like, all the guys that worked on.
There's Ralph McQuarrie, Michael Pangrazio, and Harrison Ellenshaw.
All those guys.
Yeah.
Very good at their jobs.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful fucking movie. All these movies are, like, beautiful fucking movies. The Empire is the Wehrmacht. Like, they are Nazis. They are the British Empire. They are the United States and Vietnam. Like, they are truly horrible institutions.
Yeah.
And it kind of, like, leans into the aesthetics of fascism. And, you know, even now, fascists will emulate each other and try to look cohesive. Where you get that in, like, Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Even though they were all wearing, like, button-up golf shirts.
Which is not a slay.
They were all wearing button-up golf shirts.
Yeah.
Because it's like the whole, you know, if you do crime, you wear the same outfit as other people in your neighborhood so that nobody knows who did the crime. Which is smart. It's a smart way to go about things. But, like, you know, you get it with the brown shirts but, like, the Empire is very SS coded.
Yeah.
It is what it is. That is the literal inspiration for their for their costuming. That being said, stormtroopers look cool, and people wanted to dress up as stormtroopers in the Star Wars sense and not the Nazi sense.
Important distinction.
Important distinction. So a lot of the EU stuff is, like, either rehabbing the Empire immediately, like, post-Endor. And that's what Thrawn is at the end of the day. It's just kind of like, he's not Grand Moff Tarkin. He's not blowing up whole planets. He is a tactician.
Yeah.
He's not Darth Vader. He's not, you know, the
Emperor.
human equivalent of a really pissed off Rottweiler with 3 legs and, like, half his teeth. And, you know, it's kind of been further rehabbed to an extent in Disney. And I don't think that was the goal, but I think a lot of people have very interesting thoughts and feelings about Thrawn.
Yeah.
Because of the canon Thrawn books and Rebels and the Ahsoka show.
Yeah.
In which some of them he is a bumbling fucking idiot and others is just incredibly autistic. But I basically went on Reddit and Star Wars blogs and, like, found people who were talking about Thrawn. And you have things such as, in my estimation, Grand Admiral Thrawn is the greatest and most significant character ever created in Star Wars Legends. Mind you, he's dead at the end of this book.
Yeah.
New Jedi Order is a 19-book series that takes place entirely after he's dead.
Indeed.
And I will say, like, you know, I don't want to get into the Hand of Thrawn stuff because you have not read it, like, legitimately. But even then, like, you have other characters. You have Progress. You have, I mean, fucking hell, Leia Organa Solo's children are the protagonists of many of the NJO series. Like, it's just a fascinating take.
Yeah. What were this person's arguments for Thrawn being the most consequential character?
It was just a list of things that he is ahead of Ahsoka. It was very weird. And then you have from Star Wars: The Old Republic strategies, Thrawn's approach to warfare was nothing short of revolutionary, blending art, culture, psychology, and military insight into a cohesive strategy that nearly toppled the New Republic. His campaign may have failed in the end, but it remains one of the most impressive and terrifying military efforts in the history of the Star Wars universe. Which, that was written in 2024.
That's recent.
It's just, like, and then you do have, this is basically Hannibal, Africanus, Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte all rolled into one. He's simply tactically superior to every other person, past or present, in the Star Wars universe. I just don't think that's true.
Yeah, I agree.
And I guess we're talking within the context of these books, but, like, I don't know, man. Garm Iblis seems pretty fucking competent.
Yeah, and Garm Iblis does not die at the end of this book.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He gets to keep bickering with Mon Mothma. For the rest of his days, however long they be.
Yeah, because I'd also argue it's not, like, because, like, what ultimately kills Thrawn is Rook, right?
Yeah.
Like, and Rook,
because he's too racist.
Yeah, exactly. His racism kills him. You know, like, if he hadn't been, like, okay with oppressing an entire planet in order to, like, enslave their sons, Like,
Yeah.
then he would not have been killed. And then whatever fucking, like, tactical brilliance he would have had on the battlefield, he would have been able to do because he wouldn't have been murdered by a representative of the people who turned on him because they figured out that he was
fucking lying to them and incredibly
starving them.
racist and starving them and like
Yeah.
stealing their children.
Yeah.
And I know I literally just said I don't give a fuck about kids, but like I've said that
Yeah.
3 times today.
I mean, we don't have to keep all that in, though.
I know we don't. But like that's, you know, what was integral. The reason he's so insanely popular despite being an older EU character is that he's well written. I wouldn't say he's not well written, but like you're not seeing, and like I would say that Pelion is the well written character here.
Definitely, yeah.
Because it's not happening through Thrawn's POV. And that doesn't mean he's not well written, but it's like you're not as intimate with him as a character as you are with literally everybody else in the book.
Yeah. No, he's a very distant figure.
Like he's just, because it's really hard to write that kind of character, which I think is why he, in the popular, I guess, like fandom spaces, does become very autistic coded, is because that's the only way that you can write a character that is the way that he is.
Yeah.
Is like you have to have someone who doesn't understand social cues or like is kind of socially inept.
Yeah.
Like he does need to be a savant, and to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And then you also have a lot of people like lamenting that they're like, wow, I just love Thrawn so much because I hate the sequels. Which, like, I'm not a sequels fan, and that's not a secret.
No.
But they're 2 different continuities, and that's fine. Like, it's okay for Lucasfilm to reset their canon. And there's, like, been good stuff that's come out since. You, like, the other Thrawn books would not exist, probably, if not for the canon reset.
Yeah, definitely not.
Some of them would, but they were all released before 2012. So, like, and you can have your qualms with the sequel trilogy. I would personally argue, probably, as we're gonna find out in the 2nd season of Ahsoka, Heir to the Empire is probably unfilmable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's probably no way you could do that.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff here that's, like, only interesting because of the internal monologues.
Yeah.
And you can't film that, really.
Unless you're Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah.
Somebody get him on the Heir to the Empire show right now.
Yeah.
I want my space cowboy.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I don't like these books or that I don't enjoy Thrawn as a character. But I think saying things like he's a true tactical genius when he's so racist, his racism is the reason he dies.
Yeah.
If he was a tactical genius, maybe he would have tactically figured out that being that racist was probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Maybe. No. And I think that, like, another thing that related to the racism thing and, like, related to, like, the discussion we had in episode 1 about his relationship with art, like, this praise of his appreciation of art is a complete misunderstanding of his relationship with art.
He doesn't appreciate art.
He doesn't appreciate art.
He doesn't know what art is.
Using it to do race science and then
and not even good race
and
science.
not even good race. Well, you can't do good race science, but like
no, but I meant like
effective one.
Yeah, effective race science.
No, he's not being effective in his application of a pseudoscientific approach to understanding beings,
the cultures.
Yeah,
internal logic.
Maybe Thrawn, and then I don't know, because like despite my critique of that, it is still like his last words are, I think, one of my favorite things he said, which is, but it was so artfully done when Rook
like,
stabs
shut
him.
Up.
Which is just like, okay, like, but that gave me a good, like, I don't know, he was pretentious to his very last breath.
There's one person, Jay Shaw, from 1138, wrote this very nice, it's linked in our docs. Grand Admiral Thrawn separating the man from myth. Both in and out of universe, people tend to assume Thrawn is perfect and unbeatable. Out of universe, this can occasionally manifest into excessive fanishness or dislike of a character that is better than the film villains. In universe, this manifests in characters assuming Thrawn is completely beyond the abilities of the protagonists to defeat. He's not invincible. Like, he literally fucking dies.
Yeah.
They kill him, and they beat him every book. Because I think the tiny excursion they have in Dark Horse Rising, he ends up on the defensive.
Like with the Katana fleet?
Yeah.
I mean,
he steals the Katana fleet, but like it wasn't a great success.
No.
As Borat would say.
Yeah.
Great success.
No, it was a Pyrrhic victory. And I mean, yeah, he's not better than fucking Rogue Squadron.
Not better than Wedge Antilles.
No one's better than Wedge Antilles. Let's talk about that.
And he's like not necessarily better than Garm Iblis. The issue with Garm Iblis is like he's beefing with his ex-wife the entire book, who may or may not be his ex-wife. We don't. Maybe he is. Maybe they were fucking. Who knows?
Who's to say?
And I mean, maybe it's because like Pelion looks up to him.
Yeah, but Pelion's also sick of him by the end of this book.
Well, yeah, because he's fucking annoying and really racist.
Yeah, well, Pelion's definitely racist too.
Well, yeah.
His internal monologues about the Nogri as Exhibit A.
Yeah.
But like, I think, yeah, Pelion is sick of him, but is also like similar to the audience, similar to the New Republic, still operates under the assumption that Thrawn will always have something figured out. He's always has. He's playing 4D chess and everyone's playing 2D chess, and like
they're not even playing 2D chess. They're playing the stick game.
Yeah. I don't know the stick game.
You know what? You drop the sticks.
What?
And then you pick up the sticks.
Oh, pick up sticks?
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Like when you pick up sticks with other sticks?
No, it's like there's a bunch of sticks in a corner and then there's a ball. And the sticks fall and then the ball. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Stick game? Hold 4 stick dice in one hand and drop them to the ground. One player keeps tossing until they toss a 0-point value.
That's a different game.
Yeah.
I've played that game, but I'm really bad at it.
There are a lot of stick games.
There are a lot of stick games. I don't know, or like 52 card pickup.
Okay, everyone else is playing War, and Thrawn is playing
Mao, yeah.
Yeah.
He is making up the rules as he goes.
Yeah.
And I think that person says it really well. It's like his reputation does precede him. People get freaked out when they hear his name.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the end of the day, all you gotta do is don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
Like that's what's confusing to me, I guess. He's not perfect. And he is a war criminal.
Yeah.
Or a not war criminal.
Yeah, because they don't seem to have
The Hague Convention of which they abide by.
Yeah.
Biological warfare is okay in Star Wars.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, not here.
Huh?
I think Stackpole.
I'm joking. That was a joke.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I was continuing the bit.
Oh, I didn't get it. I love when I do that.
That's so Eli Vanto coded of you. I do find it incredibly weird the way people talk about Thrawn. It's kind of how I feel about the way people talk about Mara.
Explain.
They're not all that. Like, Mara really ain't all that. She's just kind of schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Thrawn is just a blue guy who people are like, oh my god, he's blue. How could a blue guy... How could a blue guy become a Grand Admiral? It's like, have you seen him in the Grand Admiral uniform? Maybe Sheev was a little fruity.
Hello. That's a good explanation.
It's like, maybe he wasn't a very good tactician.
Maybe he was just hot.
Maybe he was just hot.
Yeah.
That happens.
It does happen.
Especially in fascist societies. Is people are promoted based on things that have nothing to do with their merit.
Yeah.
And everything to do with how they are perceived.
Mm-hmm.
And you could make the argument that because he's not human, that is not the case.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
It happens.
Which is fine.
There are so many podcasts about the Clone Wars. I don't think we need to talk about clones and identity.
I think we're fine.
Except I guess it would be different.
Yeah.
Because those clones are all this. There's like millions of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think you did enough by asking, is Jerus a clone if his original is dead? I don't know.
It's like a Ship of Theseus situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, am I not me?
No.
Shit.
Every 7 years you become a new person. And you get new allergies.
Word.
Fun fact.
Is that really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I think I am actively growing out of my cat dander allergy.
That's great. Yeah, that means you can hang out at my apartment.
I already do.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yippee. Okay.
Yeah. I developed my penicillin allergy at 14.
That's cursed.
Yeah, it is. So, what? Next time? We're doing...
Thrawn.
2017. It's going to be great.
It will be great.
We're going to get much younger Thrawn, and then we'll do those books.
Yeah.
We did the Thrawn trilogy.
It's going to be interesting to
go back in time.
To go back in time and also be able to hear Thrawn's inner monologue.
And also, it's an entirely different continuity.
Yeah.
So, nothing you read matters.
Oh,
but
man.
It kind of does.
I love that.
Because Timothy Zahn really wanted everything to, like, kind of work together.
And I think that's great.
So, like, I didn't find anything that was too jarring in between.
Yeah.
Well, we will see you next time on Interview with a Bothan.